Thank you for being curious about how my characters were born, and I actually am a little surprised that I've never answered this before, and I never even thought to answer it, and I don't know why. But I'm going to try to keep this concise because there are many things I could say about many of my characters. So I'm just going to keep it short. We'll start with Keisha. Now, Keisha is a Valley girl. She's a Middle Eastern Valley girl, specifically Saudi Arabian. And she's from California, but of course all of my characters at one point moved to New Jersey. What a coincidence, because I live here. And she's one of those girls in school that thinks she's better than everyone else. A lot of my characters actually had seedlings in high school when me and my friends used to make video projects for like our film and media class or different classes, and we like would borrow camcorders and make videos, or we would just make videos for ourselves because I guess I was always meant to make videos. So we all talked in different accents, different voices. We would put on like these characters with each other in class, like with no cameras rolling, and we would just do it. Listen, I never told you that I wasn't a dork. I'm sorry if you're offended. We would call each other by fake names. Like my friend Christina, I would call her Martha. She would call me Betty. Me and my friends Yuritsa and Heather used to talk in fake Valley Girl accents all the time. And one of our favorite things to say to each other, like especially if a Valley type girl in our class said something stupid, we would turn to each other and be like, "Oh my god." So, "Oh my god," turned into Keisha. Now, Keisha wasn't always Keisha. Keisha's original name was Callie, and me, my friend Matt, Rusty the Rockstar, and our friend Jess had these characters of Valley girls named Callie, Autumn, and March. Callie was Keisha at that point, and she was blonde. And I really hope that Matt has some of these things. We just recorded it with like a point-and-shoot camera and just put it on like his computer and watched it because we thought it was funny. And then Callie became brunette and finally told everyone that she was Saudi Arabian and that her full first name was Khalida. Maybe you noticed that there's chili that just appeared mid-sentence. That's because I just got dinner because I'm hungry and I've been making this video for 2 hours. But it's too hot to eat right now, so it's cooling off. Anyway, Keisha, Khalida, moved from Saudi Arabia to California, and to fit in, she picked an American name. So she took her own name, Khalida, and looked for other K names in an American baby name book, and found Keisha, and so that's the one she chose. Similarly, in Mean Girls, when Karen asked Katie if she's from Africa, why is she white? People started asking Keisha, if your name is Keisha, why are you white? Laughter ensues. Remember the time I said I was going to make this short? That was one character. I'm going to attempt to speed through. So Kate. Something else that I always used to say with my friends was, girl. No, no. Along with Valley Girl accents in high school, I also enjoyed doing Ghetto Girl accents. So I would say things like, girl, no, don't do that. Thus turning into Kate. Now, why I chose Kate to be a transgendered male, I have no idea. I got the wig for $5 at Five Below. I put it on one day, actually, for one of C. Maddox Bitch's videos. He asked me to do a ghetto girl accent for one of his videos. I'll put the link in the description. And I had that wig lying around, and I put it on, and I was like, perfect. So I texted him a picture of me wearing that wig, making this face. And he said it was perfect. Kate was created. Since her hair was green, and a lot of go green things were going on, I figured I would also make her environmentally conscious and aware, and kind of like a spokesperson for going green. Kind of literally. And I might as well address some of the comments that people who aren't familiar with my videos leave on videos in which Kate is in. And they say things like, you're a Shane Dawson wannabe, this is like Chenade. And I try not to respond because I realize they're just fangirls that aren't familiar with anything else other than Shane Dawson. So I figured since this is my video and I'm talking about my characters, I would say something about it. So Kate is a transgendered male with short green hair that lives in New Jersey with an East Coast ghetto girl accent that is environmentally conscious and very green about everything. Chenade, from what I've seen, is from California with a West Coast ghetto girl accent, with long red hair and lipstick outside of her lip line, that talks about guns and periods and things like that. That is all about whooping. Now, I understand if you live somewhere where you've never heard a ghetto person speak. However, just because two people are speaking in the same accent in no way means that their characters are any way similar. It's kind of like saying anyone who does an English accent is copying off of Harry Potter. Moving on. So my camera just died, and it's 2.5 hours later than it just was, like, less than a second ago for you. My chili has been eaten. Also, this candy bar that I ate while my camera was charging. That wasn't even a structured sentence, so I'm just going to move along. So, Maria was created for Las Monjitas, which is a Latina super pop girl group. Fake, of course. And the members originally were Maria, Lily, and Andrea. Andrea is a slut, and she was kicked out. Then there was Pilata, our half-Indian bandmate, who went on to pursue her dreams of working in Wall Street. And after that, there was Sahara, an albino African-American who moved to Africa and ended up doing social work. Which brings us to today, and the present-day members of Las Monjitas are Lily, Maria, and Julia, otherwise known as me, Rusty the Rockstar, and C-Maddox Bitch. So Maria is a persona that's been cultivated for years. You know, I'm going to interrupt myself and say that probably you guys didn't realize that there was so much history behind some of my characters. I mean, look at Maria's hair alone. She started off brunette, now she has one of those going on. Who, might I add, had that hairstyle before Rihanna stole it for GQ magazine. Moving on. As for Manny, I kind of always wanted a Cholo character, and I figured it would be fitting to make Manny Maria's brother. Then came Frankie, and I mean, I hope this goes without saying, but Frankie existed before the show Jersey Shore did. And I mean, there's proof of that with Frankie's Guido makeup tutorial that I will link in the description box below, which was like from 2 years ago, before Jersey Shore was on air. And I mean, just because New Jersey is in the media often now, doesn't mean it didn't exist before, and those stereotypes have always been prevalent. So I figured I'd make fun of the caricature that people think that people from New Jersey are, and I turned that into Frankie. Then of course I wanted to have a female Guidette character, and again I thought it would only be fitting to make her Frankie's sister. Now Harriet and Larry. Now I've been doing Larry's character for 1.5 million years, aka like probably freshman or sophomore year of high school. And I used to do Larry, I should rephrase. And I used to act like Larry with my friend Christina, whose character was Dorothy. And Dorothy and Larry were an old Jewish couple from New Jersey who always fought, who didn't agree on anything, and Dorothy was semi-abusive to Larry. And Dorothy and Larry had their big screen debut, and by big screen debut I mean we made a film project for our film and media class in what was titled It Must Be the Water, a mockumentary. I went around like with my friends and we acted as different characters, and like we went around my town and interviewed different people. There was a little girl who was playing by herself in the park at night. I mean, it wasn't, that sounds scary and creepy. No, that's not. I mean, it was funny. I mean, well, we thought it was funny. There was Dorothy and Larry bickering in the kitchen. There was a woman who was played by Christina's mom, actually, stirring a pot in her kitchen, insisting on that she was making toast. Our friend Heather played a psychic magician. Just, I really wish I had this VHS still so I could figure out how to get it on YouTube, because, I mean, if anything, only so I could watch it again. But when I started making videos in character, I already had Larry, but I needed to play his wife. And I didn't want to play Dorothy because that's Christina. So yes, Larry has an ex-wife named Dorothy, and maybe I'll bring her in for a video. So since I didn't want to name Larry's wife Dorothy, I decided to create a new character, Harriet, to be essentially Dorothy, just me. Vagina didn't have a name for a while. Me and Justine just used to make creepy faces at each other that were kind of like this. And we would just do that. I probably looked really weird doing that, not in Vagina costume. But yeah, Justine and I used to try to out-creep each other with our faces, and so I did it in a video and decided to make it a character and name her Vagina because, you know, that's a funny name. Sam Starr came about when Loser Luigi had an 80s tag video, and he tagged me in it, and I had to make some sort of 80s video for the tag. So I thought back to my childhood, and I remembered these infomercials I used to watch of like fitness gurus who always talked like this. I put on a wig, a sweatband, an oversized 80s looking colorful shirt, this voice, and I just held a knife for good measure, and Sam Starr was born. Since then, I realized when I started getting video responses from kids holding knives in their hands, I had to change it to a whisk. So now he carries a whisk, which I feel is in some ways funnier, because who carries a whisk? Sam Starr is kind of like a fitness guru superhero, and his power is whisking. Rita-Robin Smith actually came about because I was making fun of Megan Tonjes. I mean, this is just what my life is like. So I was hanging out with Megan Tonjes, and she said the word apple. Although she didn't say apple, she said apple, which, you know, is funny to me. So I started making fun of her. Of course, she was making fun of me for my accent. And then, I guess, I don't know if it was a couple days or a couple weeks later, I was like, you know what? I think I need a Midwestern character based on Megan Tonjes' apple. So I started exaggerating it a little, and it started sounding like this. I gave her that sexy red soccer mom wig, red lipstick, glasses with the things that hold them onto your neck. Rita-Robin Smith was born. Martin Crosby is a newscaster from the 1940s who time traveled from the past to the future and is now a current newscaster. One of my favorite shows ever, even when I was little, was I Love Lucy, and I just thought it was funny when the announcers in that show, whenever like Ricky was doing his thing, pick up a bottle of Vita-Mita Vegemin, that's Vita-Mita Vegemin, tomorrow. And thus Martin Crosby was born. Darlene and Bubba Joe came about because I felt like I needed a Southern couple, and everyone used to weirdly think that Bubba Joe was her dad. I mean, rightly so, because Bubba Joe looked super old and Darlene was a young whippersnapper. Finally, Peppy came about because ex-Sparkage, Leisha's boyfriend, told me that I should have a crystal, like, person, like someone who does crystal energy things. And I found this wig, which is actually, here's a secret, it is, what's her name from that show with the million babies? Kate something? Kate plus 8, what is her name? Kate, whatever her name is, Kate something. And it's her haircut, like specifically, the wig was called like plus 8 or something like that. And I turned it backwards, and it ended up being a mullet, so it was perfect. So now I have this, you know, crystal reading person with a mullet and glasses with the bridge on the top. So yeah. So I'm gonna guess that this video is really long, and I apologize because I tried my best to keep it short and concise, but there's still more. So I mean, if you know, still feel like watching the rest of the original like main question and answer video, you can click anywhere here.